How did people clean themselves before soap? In one ancient world, the answer was a curved scraper of bronze. Let's find out. My name is Pico. This question has been bothering me for a while. This morning you reached for a bar of soap. You didn't think about it. Warm water, a little foam, and the day rinsed off your hands. The dirt just left. No trace of where it went. For most of human history, that particular disappearing act was not the ordinary way people got clean. So step back, a long way back. A courtyard under the Greek sun. The ground is packed dust. A man stands there breathing hard, his skin shining, not with water, with oil. He had coated himself before exercising. Now that oil has mixed with sweat, dust, and the grime of the exercise ground, he rubs fresh oil across the layer already on his skin, and then he reaches for a tool. Not a cloth, not a sponge. A curved scraper of bronze, slightly longer than his hand. He places its edge against his shoulder, and he pulls. A dark, oily sludge gathers inside the curve. Sweat, dust, oil, and dead skin, drawn away in a single stroke. I watched him do it. And I did not understand what I was seeing. If there was no soap, what was the blade for? Here is what I had gotten wrong. I thought clean began with soap. It didn't. Long before the modern bar, and across different places and centuries, people were already finding ways to get clean. They simply did not share one method. In the valley of the Indus, more than 4,000 years ago, the people of Mohenjo-daro built a great tank of brick, sealed with plaster and natural tar so that it could hold water. We do not know for certain what happened inside it. Most scholars think it was used for special ritual bathing, where entering the water meant more than simply removing dirt. Go west to Egypt. There, washing did not always mean sinking into a bath. Water was poured over the body, sometimes inside simple washing spaces built into the home. Across South Asia, the fruit of the soapnut tree offered another answer. Crush its shell in water, and compounds inside it begin to foam. A lather that grows on a branch. And elsewhere, hands found still more answers. Fine clay to absorb oil. Wood ash stirred into water. Sand and pumice to scour. Heat and steam to soften what clung to the skin. Water, heat, friction, earth, plants. No single cleanser, no universal ritual. And still, people got clean. So cleanliness was not waiting to be invented. It was already here, in 100 forms. But the Greek gymnasium had created a peculiar problem of its own. A body was coated in olive oil before training. The oil caught the sweat. The sweat and oil caught the dust of the exercise ground. By the end, the skin was covered in a warm, clinging film. Plain water could rinse the sweat, but it did not easily carry away the oil-bound dust. Water alone was not the answer they chose. They chose the blade. The tool had a name, a strigil. It was not made to cut. Its edge was made to press against the skin and scrape. But what mattered most was the curve. The blade bent inward along its whole length, so that the hollow inside it became a kind of channel. He sets it against his skin and draws it down. Slow, steady, following the shape of the arm. The oily film begins to move. Sweat, dust, dead skin. All of it gathers inside the hollow of the bronze in a soft, dark line. At the wrist, he stops. The curve is full. He draws the blade between his thumb and forefinger, clearing the paste from the metal. Then he begins again. The other arm, the chest, the back of a leg. Stroke after stroke, until the warm, clinging film is gone. Then water and a sponge finish what the metal began. In the Greek gymnasium, this was a familiar end to exercise. And when the Romans made public bathing part of ordinary urban life, the strigil travelled with it. In a Roman bath, the scraping might come after exercise or heat. A wealthy bather might bring an enslaved attendant to perform it. Others could pay someone working inside the baths. Most strigils were bronze. Iron ones survived too. And a rare few were made from silver or covered in gold. Some have been found in graves beside the small flasks that carried their oil. Other surviving sets fastened the flask and scrapers together, ready to be carried to the bath. For centuries across gymnasia and bathhouses, this was one familiar shape of getting clean. Oil on, grime drawn away on a curve of metal. I watched him clear that dark paste from the blade, a person's sweat, the dust beneath his feet, a thin layer of his own skin, and I found myself wondering about the strangest thing. Not where it came from, where it went. So, where did it go? The paste cleared from the blade, that mixture of oil, sweat, dust, and skin, was not always swept away and forgotten. In the Greek world, the athlete's oily residue even had a name, gloios. Latin writers called such scrapings strigmentum, and people believed this dirt could heal. Ancient medical writers describe several kinds of bathhouse and gymnasium grime being saved. Oily scrapings from bodies, residue gathered around the baths, even dirt removed from gymnasium walls, mixed into remedies, said to soften stiff joints, apply to swellings, sores, and burns. The grime of a human body turned into medicine. Pliny the Elder, writing in the 1st century, went further still. He claimed that officials of a Greek gymnasium had once sold its oily scrapings for 80,000 sesterces, a fortune for what had been drawn off other people's skin. Now, stop here with me for a moment, because this is the strange thing underneath the whole story. The strigil belonged to a different idea of cleanliness. Dirt was loosened, gathered, and physically drawn away. Something you could see, something you could hold, something apparently you could even sell. Soap would eventually make dirt vanish far more quietly into foam and rinse water until the work itself became almost invisible. My friend, soap was not waiting to be invented. Wood ash already held part of the answer. Pass water through the ash, and the water carries away its alkaline salts. Heat that alkaline liquid with fat, and the fat begins to change into something slippery, something that can loosen grease and carry it into water. Soap. People had understood versions of this transformation for thousands of years. More than 4,000 years ago, Mesopotamian scribes were already recording mixtures of oil and alkali used in washing and preparing wool. The Romans knew soap too. Pliny called it sapo, a preparation of sweet and ash that he associated with gall and described as something used on the hair. But in the bathing world we have just entered, soap did not replace the system already there. Oil, the strigil, water, sponges, heat, the public bath. Soap was one substance among many, not yet the ordinary object through which people recognized a clean body. So the question was no longer how people got clean without soap. The question was, why did it take soap so long to become clean itself? So what changed? Not one thing. Several systems, slowly, began to meet. Soap became easier to make at scale. Industrial chemistry supplied alkali in quantities that wood ash could not. Factories combined it with large supplies of fats and oils, turning out bars that were cheaper, more consistent, and easier to carry from one household to the next. Soap did not become affordable for everyone at once, but it moved within reach of more people. And water came closer. In growing towns, public washhouses and municipal water systems made washing easier for people who still had no pipe inside the home. Later, indoor plumbing spread too. Not everywhere, not all at once. But for more households, a wash required less hauling, less heating, less time. Then came the lesson. During the 19th century, doctors and sanitary reformers increasingly argued that the skin was part of health and that dirt should be removed. They did not all agree why. Some believed blocked perspiration trapped waste inside the body. Some feared foul air. Later, germ theory gave cleanliness a new language, but the instruction became familiar. Wash more often, and where there is a lesson, there is someone selling the answer. Soap appeared on posters, wrapped in bright paper, given a name, a promise, a picture of the person you might become by using it. Advertisement after advertisement tied soap to health, to beauty, to respectability, to modern life. Little by little, soap stopped being one cleaner among many. It became the thing people pictured when they pictured clean, not because the older ways had failed. The man with the oil and the blade was not wrong. He had loosened the dirt, gathered it, carried it away. Soap solved the same physical problem through a different mechanism. It loosened oil, held it in water, and carried both away in the rinse. The work became easier to repeat and easier to forget. I think about him now. In that courtyard under the same sun we still stand beneath. The oil, the curve of bronze, the dark paste drawn slowly down the length of an arm. He was not primitive. He was practicing cleanliness, just in a language of oil, metal, and friction instead of foam. What everyday object do you want Pico to follow next? Tell me below.